Good morning. Happy Friday to you. It's good to be with you this morning. I hope you're having a great day. If you've been outside, you've seen the absolutely beautiful full moon. Last night was the full moon, and this morning it was just shining as bright as could be. That's when you get the moon shadow. And of course, Venus is high in the eastern sky and just as bright as can be. So it's just a beautiful, beautiful morning, and it's good to be with you. It was 70 degrees this morning, a little bit cold, a little bit breezy, but absolutely beautiful. It is Friday, October 2nd. Can you believe it's already October? I can't believe it. Just absolutely crazy. And the weekend is upon us. Very, very good and exciting, busy weekend. Hope you are going to have a great weekend. Few announcements. First of all, we do have a birthday today. Happy birthday, Neva. October 2nd, it's your birthday. I hope you have a great day. And there's also some other people. It's the triplets, Nick, Carly, and Kennedy Farnbrook. I don't know if you know them, but their birthday is today also. So happy birthday to all of you. That's 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and then we have nothing over the weekend, and then we have a big special birthday on the 5th, on Monday. So if you know Neva, actually, she might be listening this morning. Neva, happy birthday to you. Hope everybody says happy birthday. Actually, I'm not live this morning. This is a pre-recorded premiere video because I have, as many of you know, we have 2 deacons, and we get together every Thursday at 4 o'clock. We pray for the congregation and just chat. But every once in a while we get together for breakfast. So this morning is our breakfast meeting. So we're getting together for breakfast, and we're going to just chat and pray and have a wonderful time. Since we're doing that and we're getting together pretty much conflicting with when this normally starts, I'm pre-recording this, and we're going to premiere it at 7 o'clock. So to you, it'll probably seem like it's still live, but it's actually Memorex. And let's see what other things. Yes, on Friday, Sunday. On Sunday, which is in 2 days, October 4th, at 7 o'clock p.m., there is going to be a Light the Night event at Christ Lutheran Vale. It's going to be at 7 o'clock p.m., and we're going to light red lights for fallen firefighters, and I've got a list of 4 of them that have been provided to me by the Rincon Valley Fire Department, and so we'll read their names. We'll light a light for them. You can just come and drive in, and I'm going to set up a speaker so you can listen to it. I think I'm going to try to live stream it. If it works, I'm going to live stream it, so you could also get online and watch it at 7 o'clock. I hope. And it might be permanently on our Facebook page, so you could watch it anytime. But this was something that the Rincon Valley Fire Department asked if we would do. They know that we're a big, huge community sponsor, and so we said, sure, we'd love to do it. And actually, the fire chief of Rincon Valley is a wonderful man, and just a fine Christian man, and you will... just a joy. He helps us with the Colossal 4th event because of all the fireworks that go off. We like partnering with the Rincon Valley Fire Department. They do a lot of stuff. Whenever we have an event at the church, they'll bring their fire trucks, and that's always a big, huge blessing. All right. So what else? I think that's about it. I don't know if we'll finish today, Genesis. I thought we would because we're so close. We are in chapter 50. There's only 50 chapters in Genesis. There's only 2 things left. But these are 2 interesting things. And if you look at the schedule, today is, let me just look at the schedule here real quick. Today is, what is today? Today is October 2nd. And then next week is October 5th through the 9th. And then the 12th through the 16th. And then I'm gone the 19th through the 23rd. I will not be doing this morning Bible study. And so I've been thinking about how we're gonna complete this Genesis series and what we're gonna do next. trying to wrap that all together. One of the things that I'd like to do is to beef up some of the stuff that I'm doing to record this on. And when I do these recordings, actually, there's a couple other things I'd like to do so that when we archive this, people can watch it, maybe not get the commentary at the beginning, but basically start at where the Bible study is actually starting. And then I'd like to do a couple other things. So I've been thinking about the week of the 12th through the 16th, spending this time working on perfecting this craft or perfecting this audiovisual presentation. So, but I'll let you know next week. That'll be next week's. That's 2 weeks from Monday. So I got all next week to pray about that and figure it out. All right. So let's just kind of spend a moment talking about where we are in Genesis. We are nearing the end. This is the death of Jacob. Jacob has just died. And now Joseph has promised his father that he would take his remains back to where Abraham and Isaac are buried. And so this is a promise he made to his dad, and so he's going to do that. And so he's asked Pharaoh's permission to do that. Pharaoh not only gave him permission, but gave him all the resources. And a lot of the officials who, like Joseph, have decided to accompany him on this journey. Now, this journey that they're going on, now that's a good question. Like, how far is this journey that they're going on? Well, let's figure this out. I have here where this cave is, where this location is. If you look here, this is Google Maps. This is where Joseph is buried. And if you, I don't know if you've ever done this before, but if you take the little guy and you move it, you can actually move it over little things like this, and you can get pictures. So this is inside the building or the structure where Joseph is buried today. This is what it looks like today. And you can see very old structure with gates and stuff like that. It's just gated windows. So this is where he's buried, and I'm just going to measure the distance from there all the way out to, so there's the Dead Sea, so it's near Jerusalem, right? There's Gaza Strip, Israel, and we're going to, as the crow flies, so we're going to the south of the, Geshem was about right in here. Click there. It's only 231 miles. And so when I say only 231 miles, that's still a huge distance. There's no question about that. Look at that. That's as the crow flies. So we're probably talking about maybe 300 miles, 400 miles. So that would be, if you did 20 miles a day, that would be 20 days to get there. So that is a fair distance. We're going to go back here and zoom in on this. All right. So that's where he's going, and he's in Egypt, and he's going to go to the land. Of course, it didn't look like this back then. It was all barren land. It was the cave that Abraham, Isaac purchased to bury. All right. So let's just go into Genesis, and we left off at verse 9 in chapter 50. So we're gonna go to verse 10. When they reached the threshing floor of Atad near the Jordan, so the Jordan River, right, Jordan River is deep and wide. Where are we? Yeah, the Dead Sea. So here's the Jordan River. It comes out of the Dead Sea. So here's the Jordan. I'm going to lose my place. Yeah, the Jordan River. Jordan River. So we'll go back. All right. When they reached the threshing floor of Atad near the Jordan, they lamented loudly and bitterly, and there Joseph observed a 7-day period of mourning for his father. And it's also quite possible that he was tired from the journey and needed a little bit of rest before he buried his father. But, minor details. So he observed a 7-day period of mourning for his father. When the Canaanites who lived there saw the mourning at the threshing floor of Atad, They said the Egyptians are holding a solemn ceremony of mourning, and that is why the place near the Jordan is called Abel Mizraim, which is the place of mourning. So Jacob's sons did as he had commanded them. They carried him to the land of Canaan and buried him in the cave in the field of Machpelah near Mamre, which Abraham had bought along with the field as a burial place from Ephron the Hittite. You all remember that story. After burying his father, Joseph returned to Egypt together with his brothers and all the others who had gone with him to bury his father. So basically, let's say it's a 300 or 400 mile journey from Egypt to where this cave is, where he purchased this burial place from Ephron the Hittite, the cave in the field of Machpelah near Mamre. And it's kind of interesting just to see how this all, we remember back in, what was in Genesis 35 or something, where they purchased this cave. And now the whole family is going to be buried in this cave. And this cave, this place still, according to, the internet, this place still exists, where Abraham, Isaac, Jacob are all buried. The cave is called the Cave of the Patriarchs. And actually, there's a website on it. It's called the Cave of the Patriarchs. If you go to Wikipedia, it's called the Cave of the Patriarchs, or Tomb of the Patriarchs, known to the Jews as the Cave of Machpelah. And here's a picture of it from the southern view. The Cave of the Double Tombs, or the Cave of the Double Caves. And to Muslims as the Sanctuary of Abraham. And you're like, why would the Muslims care? Well, because Muslims follow Abraham also. They don't follow Isaac, they follow his brother. Is a series of caves located in the heart of the old city of Hebron in the southern West Bank, according to the Abrahamic religions. The cave and the adjoining field were purchased by Abraham as a burial plot. Over the cave stands a large rectangular enclosure dating from the Herodian era, so that's about the time of Jesus. Byzantine Christians took it over and built a basilica, which after the Muslim conquest was converted into an Ibrahimi mosque. Then Crusaders took over the site in the 12th century, but it was taken back by Saladin in 1188 and reconverted into a mosque. Israel took control of the site in 1967 after they won that war, the 1967 war, dividing the structure into the synagogue and the mosque. In 1994, the Hebron Massacre occurred, in which a Jewish settler killed 29 Muslims praying in the mosque. The Arabic name of the complex reflects the prominence given to Abraham in Islam. Outside biblical and Quranic sources, there are a number of legends and traditions associated with the cave. The site is considered by Jews to be the second holiest place in the world after the Temple Mount, which is where the temple is. So, and then there's more history here. But there you go, the Cave of the Patriarchs. There's a picture of it. Let's see if I can get a better view of it. There's the Cave of the Patriarchs. Would be kind of fun to see that at some point, wouldn't it? I don't know if it's a safe time to go to or not to go to Israel, but it's a you look at that structure. I mean, it's beautiful, and it was built in the Herodian era. So I mean, that's a pretty old cave. Amazing, it's still standing. Just absolutely amazing. So they carried him to the land. They buried him in the cave. This is the cave that is owned by him because Abraham purchased it. So I think when he goes there, this hasn't been too long since Abraham died. Maybe 50 years max or something like that when they purchased this cave. So the people that live around this cave would have remembered the family of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they would have remembered that this cave exists and who owns it, and so they would have no problem putting Jacob in this cave next to his father and his grandfather. Pretty cool. To be able to be buried in a cave like that. And I mentioned this the other day, that there are some places that have family crypts, and they bury the family members in the crypt, and particularly where it's hot. And then as soon as another family member dies, they open up the crypt and they keep doing that. I think that's kind of a cool thing. I think church burial yards are really kind of a great thing. I have no problem with cremation or mausoleums or things like that. I don't. The one thing that a lot of religions do is that they'll put the body on a float and they'll burn it and they'll send it out to sea. That's another way that a lot of people bury the dead. That's very, very Eastern religion, Eastern tradition to be able to do that. And then today it seems like people will, like one of the common things to do today is to have people cremated, and then they take the cremains and they'll go and they'll sprinkle the cremains somewhere in a favorite place that person liked. And I think I've mentioned this before, but my wife has mentioned that she'd like to be cremated and painted into a painting. So on the last day, she comes out of the painting. I think that's kind of interesting. She's kind of strange that way. All right. So is there anything else to say about Jacob? Except that this is an end of an era. Jacob is the main character here. We have Joseph, we have Abraham, we have Isaac. But Jacob becomes Israel. He's the one with the 12 sons. With Jacob comes this huge nation of Israel that was a very dominant force in that area for a long time. And they're, of course, still around, the nation of Israel. They were dispersed. They came back. They've never rebuilt the temple. But a lot of these sites that are very holy to Israel are still around. And if you are the nation of Israel, then the death place, the burial place of Israel, which is Jacob, is very important to you. So you can see how that's probably the second holiest site in Israel, and how it's gone back and forth. And finally Israel said, fine, we'll share it. So they're sharing it. All right. But something happens. Jacob is dead, and now the brothers are wondering, what's going to happen to us? Was Joseph nice to us just because his father was alive? Or is Joseph nice to us? Or is Joseph going to turn on us? Well, let's just continue reading. This is verse 15. When Joseph's brothers saw that their father was dead, they said, "What if Joseph holds a grudge against us and pays us back for all the wrongs we did to him?" So they sent word to Joseph saying, "Your father left these instructions before he died. This is what you are to say to Joseph. I ask you to forgive your brothers the sins and the wrongs they committed in treating you so badly. Now please forgive the sins of the servants of the God of your father." When their message came to him, Joseph wept or laughed. I mean, is this really what Jacob had said? Or are they making it up just to try to, get Joseph to change his mind? I have no idea. It seems all too convenient. You would think that when Joseph came to see his father in his last days, that this is something the father would have said to him. But they're just reinforcing it. Your father left these instructions. This is what you're to say to Joseph. Don't kill them. Be nice to them. But when a message gets to Joseph, Joseph weeps. Which Joseph tends to be a weeper. We've seen that before. And what you weep for kind of shows your character. Verse 18, his brothers then came and threw themselves down before him. "We are your slaves," they said. But Joseph said to them, and this is key, "Don't be afraid. Am I in the place of God? You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done and saving of many lives. So then don't be afraid. I will provide for you and your children." And he reassured them and he spoke kindly to them. So, I think the thing that impresses me most about Joseph is just his maturity. He has a deep, strong, abiding connection with God. He has a deep, strong, abiding faith. He takes the punches of life and he doesn't turn it around on other people. He just takes it and he learns from it and he moves forward with it. And because he has such a deep, abiding faith in God, he is able to do amazing things. Because you can spend all your energy being angry and trying to figure out how to plot revenge and do all the eternal justices of the world to make sure that justice prevails, right? You can do that, or you can just take the punches and say, God, I'll let you take care of this in the last day. I'll let you kind of use these events as you will for your kingdom and the growth of it. And then I'm just going to continue to cling to you and move forward. I'm not looking in the past. I'm moving forward. And I that really is what impresses me about Joseph, because that's what he does. Have you ever met people like this? Paul is like this, right? Paul's put into prison, and instead of grousing and griping about the fact that he's in prison and he can't do the missionary work that he wants to do, he wants to plant more churches and do all that sort of thing. Paul just does the work of God wherever God's placed him. And God blesses them because of it. And there is not a place on this earth where you can't be the hands and feet of God. And if you are mature enough, if your faith is strong enough to where you recognize that the main reason why God has placed you on this earth is just simply to be his hands and his feet, to love the world around you, where is it that you can go? Where is it that you're going to go where you can't do that? I mean, if that's your mission statement, if the highest priority in your life is to love and serve God, where is the place in this world you can't do? There isn't a place. You can be in prison. You can be in the hospital. You can be. There's no place where you can't do that. Romans 8:38, right? There's neither height nor depth nor angels nor things past, present, or any other created thing can ever separate us from the love of God. Where can you go where you can't do the hands and the feet of God? Now, if that's not your primary mission, if your primary mission in life is to, make widgets, and that's your primary mission in life, and all of a sudden widgets can't be made anymore because nobody wants a widget, or the materials to purchase the widgets don't exist anymore, and we're in the middle of a coronavirus and all the factories that produce widgets are shut down, then you got a problem, because now you can't do your primary mission in life. But if your primary mission in life is to love and serve God, all right, God, I see that. I'm gonna pivot. I can't love and serve you over here, so I'm gonna love you and serve you over here. That's fine. I'm fine with that. Just give me some guidance. Know that I'm still loving you and serving you, and that you still love me, and that you still give me all the power of heaven in my fingertips. Right? The Holy Spirit lives in my body and in me. So yeah, let's move forward, God. Let's do it. So in the middle of a coronavirus, yeah, God, I can't do it over here, but I can certainly do it over here. So let's do it, Lord. And that's really that is where deep faith really comes from. And Joseph has it. Joseph, you can tell he first weeps, and when you weep over things that are joyous, that tells a lot about who you are. And when you weep because, and when you have an attitude like Joseph, don't be afraid. What you intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done and saving of many lives. Joseph has completely seen that what his brothers did was part of God's plan all along. He's not going to destroy them. He understands that. And now, it does bring up just one little thing, and that is what happens. So you could do, let's say you did that with a criminal, that somebody stole something from you. Does that mean that you should just let them keep it? Does that mean that they shouldn't have a justice on this earth for something that they stole from you? I mean, that there's no consequences of that? This doesn't mean that at all. Because we live in a world, right? We live in two kingdoms. We live in God's kingdom, but we also live in the earthly kingdom. In the earthly kingdom, there has to be law and order. You can't have chaos. There has to be rules. Because we live in society, we have to learn how to live together. And we've set up and established these rules. And so when somebody steals from you, there has to be a consequence for that. There has to be a punishment for that. And that's all kind of earthly kingdom stuff. That's okay to do. No problem with that whatsoever. The question is, what are you going to do in your heart, and how are you going to treat that? And how, and actually does come sometimes create somewhat of a conflict, because you do live in both kingdoms. You live in God's kingdom, you live in the earthly kingdom. Like, how much grace do I give to somebody? If you were to go to the sentencing or whatever, how much grace do I show at that point? And those are things that each person has to struggle with. There's no right or wrong on that. But as for you personally, having the maturity to just see in God's economy, in God's kingdom, that nothing can ever separate you from his love, and you can always serve him no matter where you are, that's a pretty healthy way to be. And that's my prayer for all of you, is that you, it's actually my prayer for me, right? Because I struggle with this more than anybody. That I would love to be like Joseph, later in my later years, just being able to love and serve God no matter what no matter what the circumstances are. That's really what I'd like to do. So I think we'll end it there. Well, no, I think maybe we'll just keep going. There's only a few more verses. We'll go to verse 4, 22. Joseph stayed in Egypt along with all of his family. He lived 110 years and saw the third generation of Ephraim's children. Also the children of Machir, son of Manasseh, were placed at birth on Joseph's knees. Then Joseph said to his brothers, I am about to die, but God will surely come to your aid and take you up out of the land to the land he promised an oath to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Joseph made the Israelites swear an oath and said, God will surely come to your aid, and then you must carry my bones up from this place. So Joseph died at the age of 110, and after they embalmed him, he was placed in a coffin in Egypt. So Joseph asks his tribe, the Israelites, to swear an oath to say that he would be taken back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And we find out later in Scripture that they actually do that. When they have the Exodus and come out of Egypt, when God rescues them out of slavery in Egypt, they grab Joseph's bones and they take them with them. That was a promise they made. Promise made, promise kept. And this then is the backstory. This is how Israel ends up in slavery in Egypt. From the creation to the death of Joseph, this sheds light onto what happens next. And what happens next after Genesis is the book of Exodus. And in the book of Exodus, we fast forward a number of years, and now the pharaohs that were friendly to the Israelites are no longer friendly to the Israelites. Somehow the Israelites have become slaves to Egypt. And now, on the back of the Israel slaves, they're building great tombs and pyramids and all sorts of things. And their life is atrocious. So to go from Joseph, who is the prime minister of Egypt, to being slaves in Egypt, the Bible is silent on that. It doesn't say. But we do know, well, it does say. Here, I'll even show you. In Exodus, the very opening, let's see. It's not really in there. So it's not really discussed how in the world they went from prime minister and elite of Pharaoh's court to slavery, but that's what they did. So I guess we'll end it here. I'll pray about it over the weekend and see where we want to start on Monday, if we want to just wrap this up. But this truly is the backstory to the story of the Old Testament. And if you ask any Israelite, what is the story of the Old Testament? Genesis is interesting, but the fact that God rescued them out of slavery of Egypt, that is the central story of all of the Old Testament to all of the Israelites. And this This story in Genesis, this account from the creation of the earth to Joseph, really provides the backstory and the understanding and the depth and the breadth of the meaning of the fact of how they got into Egypt and why God had to rescue them. So I pray that it has been a blessing to you, and I'm so grateful that you've joined me. This is episode 90. There's 50 chapters. We did 90 episodes in Genesis. Just absolutely crazy. All right. Thank you so much for joining me, and we're going to close in prayer. Dear God, thank you for creating Joseph, that his example shows us how we can be so connected to you that even the worst things that can happen in life don't deter us from our faith in you and our knowing that you love us and your love for us. Be with us over the weekend. Keep us safe. Bring us back again together on Monday. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, so there you have it. Again, thanks for joining me, and we'll see you Monday. God's peace. We'll talk to you later. Bye.